In life, it is not the size of our bank balance that makes us rich or poor, it is the size of our mindset. Some people have everything yet feel empty, others have very little yet live with abundance. The real difference between rich and poor is not in the pocket, but in the perspective. When we talk about the difference between a rich mindset and a poor mindset, the very first thing that comes to light is how they both look at life's challenges. You see, every single person in this world will face obstacles, whether rich or poor. Problems do not knock on the door of only one category of people. They come to all, but what makes the difference is the way we look at those problems. A poor mindset focuses only on the obstacles. It stands before a closed door and cries about how unfair life has been. It keeps repeating, "Why me? Why is this happening to me? Why do I always get stuck? Why is life so difficult?" This mindset gets paralyzed by fear. It sees challenges as walls that cannot be climbed, as barriers that cannot be crossed. It complains, it hesitates, and it eventually gives up because the only thing it chooses to see is the obstacle standing in the way. But a rich mindset functions very differently. A rich mindset sees the same obstacle but asks a very different question. What can I learn from this? What opportunity is hidden here? How can I use this challenge to become stronger, wiser, and better? Where the poor mindset sees a dead end, the rich mindset sees a turning point. It doesn't deny the difficulty, it acknowledges it, but it refuses to stop there. It looks for creative solutions, it seeks guidance, it takes risks, and it believes that every problem carries the seed of a new opportunity. Think of it like this: two people walk into the same storm. One cries about the rain, curses the clouds, and sits in despair. The other sees the rain as water for seeds, as nourishment for the land, as something that will eventually bring new life. Both are in the storm, but their outlook decides their future. The poor mindset gets stuck in fear. The rich mindset moves forward with faith. Opportunities in life are never absent. They are simply hidden inside obstacles. And those with a rich mindset have trained themselves to search for those hidden gems, while those with a poor mindset waste their time complaining about the rock that covers the treasure. This is why some people, even after losing everything, rise again with greater strength, while others collapse even when they had much to begin with. The way you look at challenges decides whether you become a prisoner of your problems or a pioneer of new possibilities. So, the real richness is not in having a life free of obstacles, but in having the vision to see opportunities in the middle of obstacles. That is where the journey of true success begins. When we look at life carefully, we realize that the difference between a rich mindset and a poor mindset is often hidden in the simple choices people make between growth and comfort. A poor mindset is addicted to comfort. It wants everything to be easy, smooth, and without effort. It says, "Why should I struggle? Why should I put myself in a difficult situation? Why should I wake up early, take risks, or try something new when I can stay where I am?" This way of thinking is like sitting in a warm, cozy room while opportunities are knocking outside the door, but refusing to get up because stepping outside feels cold and uncomfortable. The poor mindset sees growth as hard work, and because it fears hard work, it chooses comfort, even if that comfort means being stuck in the same place forever. On the other hand, a rich mindset understands that comfort never created greatness. Growth always happens outside the comfort zone. A rich mindset says, if I want to become more, I must be willing to do more. If I want to reach heights I have never reached before, I must walk paths I have never walked before. This mindset embraces challenges as the gym where the muscles of life are built. Just as a person cannot build strength without lifting weights, one cannot build success without lifting the weight of discipline, effort, and sacrifice. The poor mindset says, I am fine where I am, while the rich mindset says, I can be better than who I am today. The poor mindset spends hours in entertainment, avoiding the discomfort of study, practice, and persistence. The rich mindset spends hours sharpening skills, expanding knowledge, and training discipline, even though it is uncomfortable, because it knows the fruits of growth are far sweeter than the pleasures of comfort. Think about a seed. If the seed remains comfortable, if it never breaks open, it will never grow into a tree. The breaking, the stretching, the pushing through the soil is uncomfortable, but only then does the seed discover its potential. In the same way, a human being who avoids discomfort also avoids growth, but the one who accepts the struggle of breaking old habits, learning new skills, and stretching beyond limits will eventually rise into greatness. The poor mindset often complains about how difficult life is, but secretly it is the love of comfort that keeps it trapped. The rich mindset does not deny difficulty, it embraces it as the price of progress. It understands that temporary pain leads to permanent gain. It chooses to endure a little discomfort today for a future that is abundant tomorrow. So the real difference is this: the poor mindset protects comfort and loses growth, while the rich mindset protects growth and loses comfort. One lives in ease but remains stuck, the other lives with discipline but discovers the joy of transformation. At the end of the journey, the one who chose growth always looks back with gratitude, while the one who chose comfort always looks back with regret. When we observe carefully, another great difference between a rich mindset and a poor mindset lies in how they view abundance and scarcity. The poor mindset lives with the belief that life is limited, that there is not enough for everyone. It says, if someone else succeeds, it means less success is available for me. If someone else is praised, it means I am forgotten. If someone else rises, it means I am being pushed down. This way of thinking creates jealousy, insecurity, and competition of the lowest kind. A poor mindset keeps comparing itself with others, always feeling threatened, always believing that life is unfair, that others are taking away the little that exists. It fears sharing, it fears giving, and it fears celebrating others because it sees the world as a pie with only a few slices. If someone takes a bigger slice, the poor mindset believes there is nothing left for it. But the rich mindset operates on a completely different belief system. It knows that life is abundant, that the universe is overflowing with opportunities, that success is not a small pie to be divided but a vast ocean where everyone can take as much as they are willing to draw. The rich mindset celebrates others' victories because it knows their success does not reduce its own. It shares knowledge, it shares resources, it shares love because it believes that giving does not reduce wealth, it multiplies it. Just like a candle does not lose its flame by lighting another candle. A rich mindset knows it does not lose by helping others rise. In fact, it becomes brighter in the process. The poor mindset asks, why them and not me? The rich mindset asks, if them, then why not me too? The poor mindset wastes time complaining about what others have, while the rich mindset uses that energy to build what it wants. The poor mindset sees only scarcity and lives in fear. The rich mindset sees abundance and lives in faith. Think of a farmer. If he thinks the soil has only enough nourishment for one seed, he will plant with fear, holding back, never trusting the process. But if he knows the land is abundant, he will plant generously, and the harvest will be abundant. Life is the same. If we believe in scarcity, we will hold back our talents, our generosity, our energy, and our dreams. But if we believe in abundance, we will live fully, give freely, and receive richly. Scarcity makes people selfish, always protecting, always hiding, always worrying about losing what little they have. Abundance makes people generous, always sharing, always creating, always expanding what they have. Scarcity makes a person close their fist tightly around what they own, but a closed fist can neither lose nor receive. Abundance makes a person open their hand, and an open hand may give, but it also receives. At the heart of it, the poor mindset feels life is against it, but the rich mindset feels life is for it. The poor mindset lives in the shadow of fear, but the rich mindset walks in the light of faith. And it is faith in abundance that allows people to dream bigger, act bolder, and live richer lives, not just materially, but emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. One of the clearest differences between a rich mindset and a poor mindset can be seen in how people view time, how they think about tomorrow compared to today. A poor mindset is trapped in the desire for short-term gratification. It wants everything now. It says, why wait? Why sacrifice? Why struggle today when I can enjoy this moment? It chooses pleasure over purpose, comfort over commitment, and quick satisfaction over lasting fulfillment. The poor mindset eats the fruit before planting the seed, spends the money before earning it, and celebrates the victory before fighting the battle. It wants the result without the process. It is like someone who puts wood into a fireplace and demands warmth without lighting the fire. It expects rewards without patience or discipline. The rich mindset, however, understands the power of long-term thinking. It knows that everything great in life takes time. Trees do not grow overnight. Relationships are not built in a day. Wisdom is not gained in a week. And wealth is not created in a month. The rich mindset values patience and discipline. It is willing to sacrifice the temporary enjoyment of today for the permanent success of tomorrow. It saves when others spend. It studies when others waste time. It works while others complain. It chooses the path of delayed gratification because it knows that true success is not instant. It is cultivated like a garden. The poor mindset says, I will enjoy now and worry later. But later always comes with pain, regret, and emptiness. The rich mindset says, I will discipline myself now so that later I can enjoy fully without regret. The poor mindset is like a child who eats all the candy at once and suffers with a stomachache. The rich mindset is like a wise farmer who plants the seeds, waters them, waits through the seasons, and later harvests more than enough to feed many. Life gives us choices every single day. Do we invest our time or waste it? Do we use our money wisely or throw it away on passing pleasures? Do we discipline our body, mind, and habits, or do we indulge them carelessly? These small decisions made daily shape the future. The poor mindset looks at today and asks, what feels good right now? The rich mindset looks at tomorrow and asks, what will this choice create for me later? That shift in perspective makes all the difference between a life of regret and a life of fulfillment. Think about it this way: building a house requires years of effort, brick by brick, stone by stone, day by day. But destroying the same house takes only a few minutes of fire. Short-term pleasure is like the fire, quick, attractive, and destructive. Long-term vision is like the bricks, slow, steady, and unshakable. A rich mindset patiently lays the bricks. Even when it feels boring, even when no one applauds, even when results are invisible, because it trusts that one day the house will stand tall. A poor mindset lights the fire, enjoys the warmth for a moment, but is left in ashes tomorrow. The world applauds quick results, but life rewards consistent effort. Those who think long-term build legacies, while those who think short-term waste opportunities. At the end, a poor mindset is full of regret, saying, if only I had saved, if only I had studied, if only I had waited. A rich mindset, however, looks back with gratitude, saying, I'm thankful I chose discipline. I'm thankful I endured the wait. I'm thankful I built slowly but surely. So the real richness is in vision, in the ability to see beyond this moment, to imagine a better tomorrow, and to make decisions today that serve that vision. Those who think long-term become masters of their destiny, while those who chase short-term pleasures remain prisoners of their impulses. If there is one quiet, powerful line that separates a rich mindset from a poor mindset, it is this: the rich person asks, what can I do? While the poor person asks, who is to blame? Blame is a comfortable sofa, soft, familiar, and oddly addictive. It cushions us from the sting of failure and the responsibility of change. When something goes wrong, pointing a finger at the economy, at other people, at circumstances, or at fate feels immediately relieving because it shifts the burden away from us. But that relief is an illusion. Blame hands our power to someone else and leaves us waiting for the world to change before we ever begin to act. Responsibility, on the other hand, is like taking the steering wheel. It is heavier, it requires attention, and it demands humility, but once you take it, you can choose direction. Responsibility does not pretend the road is easy. It simply says, I will learn to drive on this road. Look at two neighbors who both lose their jobs. One says, this company is corrupt. They never treated me fairly. It's their fault. He spends days rehearsing injustice, building a case of why he is owed compensation by life. His energy goes into perfecting grievances. The other says, this happened. What are my options now? How can I upgrade my skills, reach out to my network, or start something new? She writes a plan, sends messages, learns and acts. Both felt pain, both had reasons to be angry. But one used the experience as a reason to stall, the other used it as a reason to grow. Over time, the person who takes responsibility creates options. The person who blames creates only stories that keep them stuck. Blame is seductive because it makes us feel righteous. It creates allies, friends nod, social media validates, and suddenly you have a community built on shared helplessness. But that community is a trap. It rewards staying small. Responsibility, by contrast, often looks lonely at first because it requires admitting mistakes, asking for help, and doing the work quietly, yet it builds worthiness. When you own your choices, even the bad ones, you rebuild trust with yourself. You begin to see failures not as verdicts, but as feedback. That simple shift from verdict to feedback changes everything. Feedback asks, "What next?" Verdict says, "You are finished." The language matters. The poor mindset says, "I can't, they made me. If only." The rich mindset says, "I will, I choose. Next time I'll." Change your language and you change the wiring of your mind. When you start saying, "I am responsible for my part," you begin to look for solutions. Responsibility is not about accepting blame for things you did not cause. It is about recognizing where your influence begins and ends, and then acting where you can influence. That clarity gives you energy and direction. There is also a moral beauty to responsibility. It matures a person. Children who are given small responsibilities to water a plant, to feed a pet, learn that their actions have consequences and that they are capable of affecting the world around them. That sense of agency is the seed of dignity. Adults who keep blaming stay immature. Adults who accept responsibility become leaders of their own lives. Responsibility humbles without destroying hope. It asks you to own what you can and to courageously change what you must. Practically, owning responsibility means simple, repeatable habits. Admit when you were wrong, apologize without excuses, make a fixed plan, learn a lesson, and move on. It means replacing "why did this happen to me" with "what can I do now?" It means setting small goals and measuring progress, not perfection. It means surrounding yourself with people who reflect reality to you rather than people who cheer for your excuses. Responsibility also frees you from the endless energy drain of anger and resentment. When you direct that energy into action, you feel alive again. Finally, responsibility is contagious in a beautiful way. When you take it, others feel safe to do the same. Teams that practice accountability perform better. Families where members own their mistakes heal faster. Societies where citizens take responsibility progress more steadily. So this is why the difference between rich and poor mindsets is not merely financial, it is ethical and practical. The rich mindset owns its life and therefore builds it. The poor mindset signs away its life to blame and therefore lives in a slow, preventable decline. Choose the steering wheel. Choose the work. Take responsibility imperfectly, bravely, and persistently, and you will discover that life responds to those who act rather than those who accuse. When we speak about money, many people think only of numbers. How much is in the bank? How many bills are in the wallet? But the deeper difference between a rich mindset and a poor mindset is not the amount of currency you carry, it is what you do with it. A poor mindset treats money as a tool for immediate comfort and status. It spends to feel good in the moment, a new phone to silence insecurity, a flashy outfit to impress others, a loan to maintain an appearance. Spending becomes a performance, a way to shout to the world, "Look at me." The thrill is real but brief, and the emptiness that follows is predictable. The poor mindset uses money to fill holes quickly, and because those holes are not healed, the need to spend returns again and again. It is like filling a leaky bucket with water. No matter how much you pour in, the leak remains unless you fix the bucket. A rich mindset, by contrast, sees money as seed. It does not view every purchase as an expense. It asks first, is this an investment? An investment is anything that creates future capacity, skills that increase your earning power, relationships that open doors, knowledge that compounds over time, health that sustains productivity, and assets that generate income. When you invest, you are planting trees, not for the shade you will enjoy today, but for the shelter your children will enjoy tomorrow. That patience is not poverty of desire, it is discipline of vision. The wealthy are not simply accumulators of cash, they are cultivators of potential. Look closely at the lives of people who remain stuck despite earning well. They have high incomes and zero assets. Why? Because their mindset treats every rupee like a tiny trophy meant to be displayed. They borrow to buy things that depreciate and then spend years paying for yesterday's status. The rich mindset distinguishes between consumption and creation. Consumption brings short pleasure and long regret. Creation brings slow work and lasting payoff. The rich person will forego a momentary delight if it means funding a course that will triple their skills, or saving for a business that will provide freedom, or building relationships that will sustain through storms. Investment is not only financial. Time invested in learning is a capital that compounds. 10 hours a week of reading, practicing, or building a skill becomes exponential over years. The poor mindset watches a few series and calls it rest. The rich mindset recognizes that true rest comes easier when your future is progressing, not stalled. Health is another form of investment. Eating well, exercising, sleeping, and seeing a doctor when needed might feel like a cost today, but it spares you from heavy payments of illness later. Relationship investments, listening to your spouse, mentoring a colleague, being present for your parents, create trust that returns in loyalty, help, and quiet joy when life turns difficult. There is a spiritual dimension as well. Spending to impress feeds ego, investing to grow feeds soul. When you plant a tree for someone else to sit under, you are practicing generosity that outlives you. When you invest in the education of a child, you change a destiny, not just a day. The rich mindset sees money and resources as instruments of service and legacy, not merely symbols of self-worth. This turns financial decisions into ethical decisions. Whom do you want to serve with your resources? What future do you want to help create? Practically, the difference shows in habits. The poor mindset pays bills, then wonders what is left. The rich mindset pays itself first, saving and allocating to investments before the temptations arrive. The poor mindset borrows to buy. The rich mindset leverages savings and knowledge to create. The poor mind gets trapped in cycles of credit. The rich mind uses credit cautiously and builds assets that can withstand downturns. Compounding interest works like a quiet miracle, and the rich mindset respects that miracle by starting early and being consistent, even with small amounts. 10% discipline monthly is far more powerful than 50% sporadic and showy, but investing also requires discernment. Not every opportunity is worthy. The rich mindset studies, learns, asks mentors, diversifies, and accepts that some risks will fail. It reframes failure as feedback, not catastrophe. The poor mindset either avoids risk entirely, thus missing growth, or chases every shiny scheme because it misunderstands risk as excitement. True investing is patient and principled. It asks, does this build capacity? Does this align with values? Will this serve others and self over the long run? Finally, attitude matters. Money spent on instant gratification often eases a temporary pain, but leaves a deeper longing. Money invested with purpose builds confidence, capability, and freedom. Freedom brings peace. Peace breeds generosity. Generosity multiplies fulfillment. The rich mindset understands that the most valuable investments are not always visible on a bank statement. Character, competence, friendships, health, and wisdom are invisible assets, but they're the ones that repay the greatest dividends when life tests you. So decide today how you will treat your resources. Will you treat them as fireworks, bright, loud, and gone, or as seeds, quiet, patient, and ultimately bearing fruit that nourishes beyond yourself? Choose to invest in the future you want to live in, starting with small, steady acts. Over time, those acts will change not only your balance sheet, but the balance of your life.